Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, hi, I don't know. Sometimes the introing feels so awkward in videos, but then like by the time I'm rolling and I have to say goodbye, I'm like, I don't want to say bye yet, I'm finally on a roll. Anyways, so today I wanted to do a video just to update you guys on the adoption process. So I'm hoping that this video is informative and interesting for you guys. There's not like a whole lot that's happened, but I think I have some information that I want to share with you and just kind of like update you guys just so I don't forget. And plus this is something that's just like been a big focus in my life. So I'm just gonna kind of like blabber and share with you where we're at in the adoption process. I have to say, if you haven't watched my other videos since we announced that we're going to be parents, I just wanna say again, thank you so much for your support and you guys just being so sweet. I've had so many conversations with people, including my mom. My mom and I were on the phone just in awe at like just how nice everyone was. I was low-key really nervous that people were gonna be rude or like, oh man, I thought you were pregnant, or like just make snarky comments, and like no one really did. And it was really, I mean, it's not surprising because I know so many of you that watch my channel are amazing, but as you know, there are just rude people on the internet that pop up, and I knew that the video was gonna get traction, and I just thought like, oh no, I gotta brace myself. And everybody was just so nice, which is so cool because I mean, obviously it's just cool when people are being nice, but I'm so just excited about this whole process and this next chapter that seeing that was like overwhelming. I cried at many of your comments. I actually didn't know how many of you that watch our channel are also adopted. And so your comments, I mean, everybody's comments were amazing, but from the people that are adopted themselves, your comments were so like just touching and affirmed what my heart already knows and believes. And I can't even believe it. So I'm not even sure where to start. So I'm just gonna start like just kind of going and talking about a couple things that were brought up in the comments and a couple things that have just been on my heart. So one thing that a lot of people asked in the comments of that video is, what is the adoption agency that Dan and I are using? And how are we going about just doing this in general? Now, here's one thing you have to know about my personality. I am really bad, at least I feel like I'm really bad at details. Meaning, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory, but also meaning I don't really know, neither does Dan, what we're doing in this process. We are kind of just taking it one step at a time and then following directions. So to answer that question though, to bring it back to the basics, we're going with an agency called Holt International. And I might have mentioned this in the video, but I saw a lot of questions about this. Holt International is a company that has not only been around for like 55 years, they are a Christian company, but I know that they work with people that are not religious as well, but they were based, and I think their kind of like values are Christian based. And like I said, they've been around, Bowser, no! They've been around for like 55 years. This is really weird that these numbers are so close, but they have placed over 55,000 kids in homes around the world. And you know, it was interesting because some people were talking about, you know, adopting internationally and like how these kids should really stay in their country. And that's one thing that I really like about Holt is, actually I just met up the other day with my friend Elsie Larson, who I can now call my friend. It's so cool. In that adoption video, I mentioned Elsie because even though Dan and I have been talking about adoption for honestly like 12 years, like since we first met, Elsie, when I was on Elsie's Instagram page, she actually just adopted her daughter Nova from China about 4 months ago. I was on her page, and it just so happened that when I was on the page, you know, like, I don't know about you guys, I feel like everybody has a moment where like the moment switches in their head and they decide to do something. Like, I remember the moment when it all clicked. Well, my moment happened to me when I was on Elsie's page. So a lot of people in the comments, well, not a lot of people, a few people were like, so this just sounds like you saw someone's cute Instagram and you were like, I want a kid. I'm like, no, that's not how that happened. But my moment happened when I was on Elsie's page. All of the sudden, I felt like I could feel my brain like cluck, 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 cluck coming together. And I was like, I can do this. It's time. Like something just snapped. Anyways, I said that in the video. our announcement video, and one of Elsie's friends, I still don't know who it was, but she saw the video and forwarded it to Elsie. So she ended up reaching out to us, which was so nice and really cool on a side note, because like I'm obsessed with little Nova, so I got to meet her and give her a little hug. But she reached out to us and she was like, hey, we would love to have you guys over and just talk to you about international adoption. Apparently someone did that for them when they started the process too, and so they were kind of just, you know, paying it forward, and I thought that that was so cool. Anyways, point being, Elsie also used Holt International for their adoption as well, and in her words, she was like, Holt is overly fair, like they are fair, and she was like, sometimes like to a degree where you're like, come on, but she's like, they do everything by the book and they really have these kids' best interest at heart. So, you know, when a lot of people were saying, I keep saying a lot of people, it really wasn't a lot of people. When a couple people were saying like, oh, you're going international, these kids should be in their own countries. That's actually what Holt strives for. Their top goal is to keep the kids that are in the orphanages within their country, because that would be the best upbringing for them. So the kids that are being adopted out internationally are the ones that really need a home. Like it's time they have to be adopted. So just to kind of like clarify that, a few people were asking me that question. So Holt International, big reputation, long reputation, great reputation. So if you are interested in international adoption, I'm gonna link their agency down below. I'd highly recommend checking them out. Also, did I already say this? My little brother, Casey, who every time he appears in videos, people are like, who's the Asian kid? That's my brother Casey from China. My parents used Holt International as well to adopt my brother. So it's kind of cool because like my family already has history with the company. So when we first started looking into adoption, I actually got to have a call with the social worker who interviewed me like 12 years ago, and we got to talk, and I think I mentioned this in the video as well, I'm not sure. We had told her that, you know, we wanted to go through China, and she actually said to us that she recommended we go through Thailand because at this moment we're not looking to adopt a child with high special needs. We don't feel like we're equipped to handle that at this point in time. Now, that's something that I feel like I also want to say is that as I have really, you know, continued to research and dive in, I'm really realizing that we will be equipped for whatever God has for us. And while we're not going out of our way, like we specifically want to adopt a kid with high special needs, we're also realizing, okay, we're open to whatever God has for us. And even just going with Thailand, there is a different level of openness, because when we started, I specifically said, I want a little girl age 1 to 3. And when you're adopting through Thailand, you don't have a gender preference, especially if you're childless. Apparently, you can have a gender preference if you already have a kid of one gender or the other. But if you are childless, it is a requirement going into the program that you have to be open to either gender. So just like a pregnancy, we have no idea what we're gonna get. And that's the thing too, is when you are adopting internationally, you are dealing with that country's program. So every country's adoption program is very different. So when I was talking with Elsie, she was telling me, she's like, I'm so excited to see what your process is like, because it's gonna be different than China's adoption process. And I actually don't personally know anyone that has gone through Thailand. All of the people that I know that have adopted internationally have either done China, or a couple people I know have done Russia, but I don't know anyone that's done Thailand. Now there is a woman on YouTube, or a couple on YouTube, who they adopted the most beautiful girl on the planet from Thailand, but we're not like online friends yet. Hey, I think her name is Laura. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. Now, just to kind of give you an update as to where we are in the process. And another thing that a lot of people asked about was money. So here's the thing, I'm just gonna be transparent because I feel like this is the best way to handle it. International adoption is expensive. It costs a lot of money. So when you adopt domestically, especially if you go through foster care, you can do it either for free, or you can end up getting paid by the government to do it. So it's a totally different ballpark if you go domestically. When you go internationally, you're talking $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to adopt internationally. It just depends on the country. It depends on the process of paperwork. It depends on flights, how cheap you can get them. There's a lot that goes into that. It's not like, all right, you have to write us a $40,000 check for this kid. What it really is it breaks down into all of these different points where you owe money. For example, just to submit an application to Holt, I want to say that first application was in the ballpark of like $500. So to fill out just for them, like, hey, we want to adopt through your agency, you have to pay a chunk of money. So once you're accepted, then there's the next round of paperwork. So we had to, for example, home study. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. My brain's going all over the place. So we paid our $500. It was somewhere in that ballpark. I don't remember. We were accepted into Holt, and we had a phone call with them. And then, you know, we decided, okay, we want to go through Thailand. Well, things that are required for international adoption, there's 2 sets of paperwork that are required. And that's actually what we're working on currently. So the first one is called home study, and the second one is called a dossier. So home study consists not only of a bunch of paperwork you fill out, it also consists of a bunch of paperwork requirements, as well as 3 separate meetings. So we actually, what day is today? Tuesday? Yep. So our first home study appointment out of those 3 is actually a week from today. So next Tuesday, we are going into our organization, our like home study place. And the way that we picked is that once we did all of our application stuff for Holt, they gave us a list. Hey, here are the home study places we recommend. We literally picked the place that was just closest to us. I think it's called Catholic Charities of Tennessee. Like I said, we picked it because of mile proximity. We were like, cool, sounds good. Turns out we lucked out, because when I was talking to Elsie, she was like, oh my gosh, I've heard so many good things about that place. I've heard that they're super fast, which on a side note is so far proving to be true, because when I went to Detroit, we had a bunch of paperwork that had to be turned in. And so Dan dropped me off at the airport. And then on the way home from the airport, he actually went to the office Friday afternoon to like give the paperwork in person rather than mailing it. There's no point since we live so close. So he brought it into the office. Monday morning by like 11 a.m., all of the people that were listed as our referrals had already gotten their emails. So, okay, so that's the thing too with home studies, there's a set of fees there. So for your first application for the home study program, I wanna say it cost us $1,000. And with that application, you have to send in marriage certificates or certificate. If we were divorced, it would be like a divorce certificate. If we had kids, birth certificates of all of our kids, our birth certificates, which on a side note, Dan didn't even have. Thankfully, they're letting us move forward without it because Dan's in the process of getting that birth certificate sent to him. So just all these certificates, financial information about our house. So just paperwork we had to pull together, as well as that $1,000 payment. We will owe another $1,000 to the home study program at the end of those 3 appointments and all of the other paperwork we're going to be filling out. So to close that out and get that report, which is really what home study I think is, will be another $1,000. It might even be $1,500. I also think, and I don't know, I'll update you guys, but I think home study is also going to consist of, because I know there's 3 appointments, there's one at first, the second one is at our house, I think, and then the third one is back with them. And I think at that second home study, they come over because they want to see if you've implemented the things that they told you have to implement, like locking away vitamins and kid-proofing things. And I honestly don't know. I will once again update you guys as we go as to like what this is, but I think that's what happens. And then when you pay that other $1,000, your paperwork, your home study paperwork is complete. So that's one chunk that you need to ship off. On the side, there's also a dossier. Oh, I just remembered we also had to pay a fee to the US government just to submit to the Thailand program. So Holt sent over all of our information to the Thailand program just to get accepted to start the process, and we had to pay Thailand and the US government, and I want to say that was another $1,000 as well. And when we filled that out, one of the things that happened just in the submission process, because apparently Thailand really wants families to have like a clean record, a clean bill of health. Well, one of the things that was brought up was that one of many reasons why I'm interested in adopting has to do with my chronic pain and injuries that I have. And so, you know, they don't know what that means. So they had me go to the doctor and get a note from my doctor saying like, hey, she's fine. She can take care of a kid, all that jazz. So it was really interesting because I'm like, how do I explain this to you that like no, I am in pain all the time, but like I'm fully capable of taking care of a kid. I'm not like bedridden. My husband works from home with me. Even if he didn't, like I can take care of a kid. I'm not stuck. So, but I hurt. Like it was really interesting kind of pulling that together. So that was all submitted to Thailand, but it also went through the US government. So yeah, so after home study, you know, like I said, we already got approved from Thailand. The dossier, I think, is a full other set of paperwork that I think is determined by Thailand. Like it's Thailand's requirements. So the dossiers change depending on the country you're adopting from, I think. So the dossier will be Thailand's paperwork. So these two sets of paperwork get combined together and then they're shipped off to Thailand. And then once they review everything and they approve it, then I think we are put on a waiting list for our kid. It's interesting because it sounds so far in so many ways, and it's like, wow, we have a lot of things to do still. And I think like in the dossier from Thailand, I think there's gonna be a lot of steps. Like when my parents adopted from China, they had to like get a note from the local sheriff, like they had to have all these doctor's appointments and notes, and I mean, but I have no idea what to expect. So in some ways, it feels like, dang, we have a lot to go. In other ways, I'm like, wait, that's it? That's all we have to do till we're put on a waiting list for a kid? Like, what? So it's gonna be a trip, and that's also why I wanna give you guys updates, because I feel like this is all interesting and good information to have if you're interested, and also just documenting it, obviously, for myself. I am also currently listening to a book called Adopted for Life. It was recommended to me by a fellow internet adoption mom. Her username is Make Something Beautiful. She actually reached out to me, and then This Gathered Nest, Angela, also reached out to me as well. And I'm actually gonna be, how many times did I just say the word actually? I'm gonna be talking to them soon, I think, in life, because they've offered to just kind of like give me information and help me just navigate this whole process. But yeah, so she recommended that book to me, so I'm currently listening to it, and I still just keep searching for Gotcha Day videos. If you've never looked up Gotcha Day videos, you have to look them up. Some of them just, they will make you sob. Actually, my favorite one on the internet, I think his name is Finn, and he was actually blind, and he was adopted from China, and his video, like, it just, everything about like adoption, you watch this and you're like, I want to take you home. He's already home with someone, but like, just so amazing. I'm so excited. I know I said this in our other video, but I feel like I'm embarking on a path that like I was made for. Like, I don't know if I'm just being dramatic and emotional right now, but like, I'm like, this is like the next chapter of what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. Maybe that's how everyone feels. That is probably how everyone feels when they embark on motherhood. But like, I don't know, settling on like, okay, we're gonna adopt, it just feels so right. And I'm so excited, and it's really surreal to think that like, we've got a kid out there that we haven't met yet. So, all right, so that's it. I'm gonna go now. Obviously, let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll either answer them in the comments or I will make another update video soonish in life. So yeah, I will see you guys very soon. Thank you again for all your support. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.